Good afternoon, Grigory.
Hello.
We are very pleased to have you here. I would like to ask you some questions relating to the forum that we had, World Forum for Democracy. First, could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Grigory Tomosyan from Georgia, representing Tbilisi School of Political Studies, and at the same time I'm Georgia's youth delegate to the United Nations.
Very good. All right, so let's start from the first question. What do you think about the World Forum for Democracy, which was held in Strasbourg city?
I think it's a great opportunity for young persons, and not only for young persons, but just very interested person in democracy, and from leaders throughout the world to come to the Strasbourg, to this great building of Council of Europe, and to have a discussion about the democracy, about the way how we should strengthen the democracy in the future and develop it, and the answer to challenges like we have at the moment, which is populism, which is so trending in the world.
I see. Very interesting points. Okay, so you're representing country of Georgia, which is very interesting. Could you please elaborate your ideas about youth's role in Georgia in promoting democracy?
Young people in Georgia are very active, but of course there's a way to go in order to become more active, because youth are the future, not only of Georgia, but every country. There's the next generation, generations that will reshape our world, will change all things we don't like at the moment, and will build a new world which will be much more ready to face all problems we have today. So of course Georgian youth is ready to be part of the international society. The fact that from Georgia we have about 30 participants at the Tbilisi School of Political Studies underline the reality that Georgia's youth is very active. What we at the same time need is to have more young leaders in regions. I believe in every country of the Council of Europe, throughout the world, young persons should become not just next generation, but be leaders who will take advantage to change, be a change makers, be a global change makers, and be a generations that will achieve sustainable development goals. You know, this is crucially important for our generation to by the year of 2030 achieve this, and of course we have to work together. So for that reason Strasbourg Forum is very important, because it brings together different nations, religions, cultures, and prospects of views, and we have great opportunities to have a common vision and to be united in order to face all challenges, and the most important part is that we have to overcome it.
I see. Very, very broad answer, and I see that the youth delegates are very active in this forum. Now I would like to ask you to name 3 highlights of the forum that we had here.
Of course, first of all, it's education. In order to answer to the problem of populism, we need to educate new generation. In order to have more information, be more democratic, and have a pluralistic ideas about what it's about to have a democratic elections, and to analyze any point of politicians or the civil society members about ongoing processes, we have to be educated to answer the questions, because in case we don't have education on the level we need, populism is so trending, it will become more popular even after that, because it's very easy to manipulate by the people if you have special tools you have in populism, but if a population, our humanity is not well educated. So education, having good leadership skills is crucially important, as I mentioned already, but at the same time, of course, we speak about the getting and having democracy more developed. In order to develop democracy, and here in Strasbourg I believe we are for that, to develop further democracy, we have to not only try to develop democracy itself, but develop tools how we deliver to the population the outcomes of democracy. So it's crucially important to have a new tools connecting people, government, and all other bodies. For that, I believe technology is the key. We should use technological advancement we have at the moment for achieving the very common goals. For example, to have more democracy. Like every single young person, every single person living throughout the world should have tools to control his government, and at the same time to raise his voice, to stand up for his rights. So it's very important, because today we have all technology means in order to left no one behind the democracy. But at the moment, let's say it.
Okay.
At the moment, globally, most of the population in your country, in countries throughout the Council of Europe, in every country in the world is left behind. We can't hear their voice here at the Strasbourg Forum. Of course, hundreds of participants came for the forum to share their ideas, but millions left behind at the moment. So we need to engage every young person, every single person living in the world. And what I believe is very important in this case, no single person should we should not left no single person behind of the agenda and bring everyone in democratic structures and to the civil society. Only in that case we will have democracy which really works well.
I see. Thank you very much for the elaborated answer. But okay, the next question is, what do you think, what are the dangers of populism to the democratic countries and democracy in general?
As I already mentioned, it's really a huge problem because new generation of political leaders, they can use the populism as a tool to influence people who have no information, right information, I mean, more adapted analysis about the ongoing processes. So this is a huge danger, not only for European system of values, but we can even speak broadly to the system of values established after the World War II.
I see.
We established a system of values which are democratic, but today, as you see in Europe and in other countries, far right or far left or different type of political systems, regimes are trying to have manipulate by the popular vote and by the people using different topics. So in order to prevent that, we need more connected, interconnected, educated, and more integrated society, which will have more tools to get right information and to share it with his colleagues. As a recent poll shows, like, you know, Facebook, Twitter, and so on accounts, social media is affecting people's views about different points and issues ongoing in the world. So we need to address the problems even in social media. Today, social media is used by populist parties in order to maintain their agenda. We should answer to that agenda by maintaining democratic views, how to engage every person and build a new type of democracies.
I see. All right, thank you very much. And my last question would be for you. What are your wishes and advices for young people to be careful about populism? Thank you.
I would answer more generally.
Okay.
I wish that every young person to become a leader. Leader in any field he is working, in business, in politics, in economics, in international studies, in engineering, mathematics, physics, and other. I mean, every young person in culture, in sport, like we can number it, because in every field we are so active, but we need more young leaders. We need more leadership, because young leaders, persons motivated to change this world, have an agenda to be unselfishly devoted to the welfare of others, to change all harmful practices and bring new type of society where leaders are oriented on the interests of people. And a very important thing is that the new type of leaders, as the generation, how it's called today, Sustainable Development Goals Generation, or Generation of 2030, we need to be leaders not only of our communities, we need to be leaders of the whole world, because the type of caring we need at the moment is to care about humanity. There are no borders anymore which restricts problems going through them. I mean, all problems we have at the moment are borderless. And in order to answer to borderless challenges like we have at the moment, which is climate change, for example, or populism, which has no borders, we agreed on that, I believe. We need to have leadership and young leaders. As here I saw in the Strasbourg Forum for World Democracy, young leaders thinking not only about their countries, but thinking about the planet and how we should develop. and what the planet should be by the year of 2030, how we should live for next generation. And very important thing, next generation is very important for us because we are in transition. And if our generation goes in the wrong way, I mean, populism will take advantage, and democratic culture established after the World War II and by the European Union mostly, or European institutions based here in Strasbourg and other cities, we as a civilization, as a European civilization, as a civilization of humanity, we can go in wrong directions. So in order to choose the right direction, we should be leaders at the moment, should try to educate our young generation and to share all views and ideas we have. And no one single person should be left behind of this agenda and the education. Education will save our planet. It's the greatest tool we have at the moment, but at the same time, together with the education, we have tool to deliver it, technology, internet, social media, and other means to deliver education to every single young person living in different countries, in very long distance countries from here to Europe and even to Strasbourg. This is very important. So that's why I really support the idea of World Forum for Democracy, and thank you very much for your questions. It was so important and so interesting to answer to this question and share my views to rest of the young persons living in different countries and interested in what's going on at the moment here in Strasbourg. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much for your ideas and also comments on the forum. We're very happy to have you here, and hopefully you will continue your great work that you have been doing back in home, and also you will improve it, and also you will continue to do it in a world level. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.